What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my Dana White's Contender Series full card breakdown and prediction video for week number 1. And we're back. We're back. It's been a while, but we are back. Fights on a Tuesday night, nothing better than it. I mean, this is the best time of the year. We got, fights on Saturday. We got fights on Tuesday. We got NFL coming up. If you're a sports fan, an MMA fan, this is a great time of year. Nothing is better than 5 fights on a Tuesday night. I love the Contender Series. This is going to be my 5th year doing content for Contender Series, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And I'll be honest, guys, it is tough. It's extremely tough because I'm already doing a ton of content for UFC, and then I'm adding an extra 5 fights on fighters I have no clue about. It's a ton of tape study. It's a ton of notes. It's a ton of work, but I do love doing it, and I do love doing and watching the Contender Series. So looking forward to these next 10 weeks. Before we get into the video, if you guys could do me a couple huge favors, it's the first week. Let's blow it up. Let's blow up the like button. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment. And all 3 of those things are much, much appreciated. If you do want to go the extra mile, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. Right now, I'm doing a couple new things for Contender Series. Of course, we have the fighter notes. I've been doing that, posting all my fighter notes for the Contender Series. The fight write-ups, that's new. I'm going to be posting my fight write-ups in the Discord, my best bet article where I break down the entire fight, give my confidence rating and my best bet for each and every single fight on the Contender Series week in and week out. The betting breakdown video, where Tuesday afternoon I go through all the odds. I talk about the fights from a betting perspective. And then this is something new I'm going to be doing this year is the members-only fight companion. Tuesday night, come hang out. We're going to go through, we're going to live bet fights. We're going to, bet on every single fight. It's going to be a fun time. I might do it to the public for the first week, but yeah, members-only fight companion. And of course, all other UFC content is included. And I do a ton of work on dfsbythenumbers.com. So yeah, like, subscribe, comment. But if you want to support me, the best way to do so is checking out the website because I'm putting in a ton of work in the research and a ton of work behind the scenes as well. And this video is brought to you by Sleeper. Check out Sleeper. Use that code DFSBTN. Get a 100% deposit match up to $100. We got football season coming back. Sleeper, in my opinion, is the best website for football. They got, daily fantasy on there now. They're doing a lot of huge things over at Sleeper. They got MMA on there. Go check out Sleeper. Use that code DFSBTN. Get yourself a 100% deposit match up to $100. And with that out of the way, guys, I say we get into it. And we're going to start with the first fight of the card. And by the way, if you guys are new, I try my best to pronounce the names correctly. And if I so happen to pronounce the names wrong, it is not my fault. I watch the fights and I get the pronunciations from the announcers and the commentators. So if I pronounce something wrong by chance, blame the announcers or the commentators because I'm just going to listen to them. That's what I'm doing. But we're going to kick it off in the first fight of the night. We got Murtaza, Talha going against, and this is a tough one, and it's only going to get tougher throughout the season here, these names, but we got Baysangur, Susurkaev. We got Talha, we'll start with him. He's training out of KHK MMA team. Talha is 29 years old. He's 6 foot with a 74.5-inch reach. He's 7-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Talha, he has a 100% finish rate. 56% of those come by knockout. 43% of those come by submission, so he's finished all of his wins. In terms of notable wins or losses for Talha, he did lose to Rodolfo Bellato on the Contender Series in 2023 by second-round knockout. That's probably where you guys remember this guy from. And then he also did beat Anton Turkalj, the Pleasure Man, back in the day as an amateur by decision. Some notes I have on Talha. So he did go 12-0 as an amateur. He's very experienced. He's currently 7-1 as a pro. He made his pro debut only in 2020, so he's been very active at the amateur fights and the pro fights, has about 20 fights total, right? So he's an equal opportunity finisher, and he's been out of the first round only twice in his 8 pro fights. He gets in, he gets out typically. So Talha is very dangerous. He throws everything with a ton of power, has nasty knees in the clinch. He also lands hard elbows when his opponents are going for takedowns. Also throws some uppercuts up close as well. Talha, I think he's solid. I think he's dangerous. I think he's good. But he was broken and finished by Rodolfo Bellato as a favorite on the Contender Series, in 2023. So the cardio can certainly be an issue. He seems like a tough guy, but he was broken, and it was a bad look against Rodolfo Bellato. So the takedown defense of Talha does look solid. I have seen him taken down, but he's able to pop right back up instantly. I don't think it's going to be easy to take down and hold down Talha. He can get takedowns in his own right, and he does have some pretty solid grappling, and he's finished half of his wins by submission. And guys are usually looking to take him down, but they don't have much success. And he's usually the only one able to get it down to the ground if somebody's able to have success in the grappling realm. When he does get on top, he has great ground and pound, and he's always looking to finish the fight wherever it goes. And Talha is dangerous. He's 19-1 as a pro and amateur combined, and yeah, he's solid wherever the fight goes. But the cardio is a massive issue, and he just looked off. He looked very off in that Rodolfo Bellato fight. I think he's a lot better than he showed in that Bellato fight there. As far as Baysangur, Susurkaev, he's training out of Killcliff FC. He's 24 years old, 6 foot, with a 76-inch reach, 8-0, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for Susurkaev. He does have an 88% finish rate. All of those come by knockout. No submission wins for Susurkaev. Some notes I have on him. He's 8-0, but he's not faced the best competition. Like, this is going to be his toughest test here. He does look very composed in there. He does have that hands-low style. He has really heavy leg kicks, and he just has a kick-heavy style as a whole. He's going to throw leg kicks. He'll throw some head kicks. And when he does let his hands go, his hands are fast, they're accurate, and they're powerful. He brings steady pressure the entire time. I like that. He walks forward. He stalks his opponents. And I think that would be very wise here against, Talha, because that's kind of what Bellato did, right? His takedown defense looks pretty solid. I did see him get taken down, but he was able to reverse his opponent instantly. He has no sub wins, but he does look competent when it comes to the grappling. Really good balance when he's defending takedowns. And yeah, I was impressed with this guy. He looks solid. He's a tough guy. Good pressure. Good takedowns. Great cardio. I like him. I like Susurkaev. So final thoughts on this fight. I think Talha, like I said, I think he's a lot better than he showed. I mean, he looked like a bum against Rodolfo Bellato. He looked like he didn't belong against Rodolfo Bellato. So I think he's a lot better than he showed, right? But that said, though, I don't love this matchup for him. Susurkaev, he's durable, has great takedown defense, has great cardio, has great pressure, and it kind of feels like Susurkaev will be able to implement the same type of style that really gave Talha problems in the Bellato fight. Bellato, broke Talha as the fight went on, and I kind of think the same thing is definitely in play here. I think Susurkaev weathers an early storm in this fight, pressures, and finishes Talha in the second or third round. So I'm going to go Susurkaev to win this fight by third round knockout. Susurkaev, I believe, is the biggest favorite on the card. We got Susurkaev as a minus 350 favorite, and Murtaza Talha is sitting as a plus 275 underdog. So give me Susurkaev to win, and win by third round KO. Up next, we have some more familiar names here. We got Christopher Ewert going against Yuri Panferov. We will start with Christopher Ewert. He is training out of Team Predator. He's 31 years old, 6'1" with a 72-inch reach. He's 7-0 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Notable wins or losses for Ewert. So he was supposed to fight Jackson McVeigh in the UFC earlier this summer, but he was not able to make weight. I'm not sure if this is 100% accurate, but I think he maybe showed up like 10 pounds over or something. Like, he wasn't even close to making weight. They said he was like 10 pounds away from making weight, something like that. So, supposed to make his debut, didn't make his debut, and now he's going to be fighting Yuri Panferov here, right? So, Ewert has a 71% finish rate. All those come by knockout, no submissions on his record. So, notes I have on Ewert. I'm familiar with Ewert. I mean, I just taped this guy not too long ago for the McVeigh fight, and I honestly didn't think he was like too bad of a fighter. He's a very tough dude, and I think that's probably his best attribute. Like, he's a very tough dude, one of those tough dudes, right? Who has good output. He has pretty good cardio. He has a chin on him, and he's willing to eat shots in there. He's aggressive. He has that dog in him, and it looks like he really likes to be in there, right? He's having fun. He's giving his opponent high fives. He's smiling in there. He's having a good time. I mean, you like to see it. He relies on his chin a little bit too much, and it'll definitely come back to haunt him in the future. I think he's getting knocked out in the future. Maybe not here against Panferov, but in the future, yeah. I mean, you can't absorb punches with your face as much as he does. But here, I think he'll be fine. He's at his best when he's coming forward, pressuring his opponents, and pushing a pace in there. He has some very cheeky elbows in the clinch, and the only thing I really don't love about the game of Ewert is just how defensively irresponsible. Like, he is defensively irresponsible in there. I didn't see much grappling from Ewert. I did see him put in some bad spots in one fight, but he was able to survive those spots and get the first round knockout. I think he's okay. Like, I don't think he's anything special, but he does have, good attributes, good cardio, good toughness, and I like the body work of Chris Ewert as well. As far as Yuri Panferov, he's training out of Ultimate MMA. He's 28 years old, 6'1", with a 72.5-inch reach. He's 8-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. No other wins or losses. So he lost to Torres Finney by second round submission in 2023 on the Contender Series. If you recognize Panferov in that polar bear outfit he has, it was, he lost to Torres Finney. One of Torres Finney's many wins on the Contender Series. So Panferov has a 100% finish rate. 64% of those come by submission, and 38% of those come by knockout. So notes I have on Panferov, so he's only been out of the first round once, and he did lose that fight against Torres Finney. And other than the Finney fight, like, Panferov has a horrible, just an awful level of competition. He does have solid wrestling, and he can get fights down to the mat. On top, he does have great control and really good grappling, and he looks to get the fight down to the mat early and often, and usually does so with little to no resistance in a lot of the fights I've seen. He's able to get to the back of his opponents very well, and once he does get to the back of his opponents, the fight is typically over shortly after. I've seen him get into mount, land some pretty vicious grounded pound, has a couple TKOs on his record, but for me, it's hard to tell how good this guy is. He looks good, but he's taken down these low-level guys who just don't belong, and he's destroying them. It's hard to tell how legit he really is. The one time he fought somebody with a pulse, he got broken and finished by Finney. The cardio's bad. The level of competition's awful. He does have a cool little outfit, though, like a nice polar bear outfit. So final thoughts on this matchup. Panferov showed off some solid striking in the first round of the Finney fight. I didn't see much striking at all on the Panferov tape prior to the Finney fight, but he was wobbling Finney. But I think a lot of that had to do with Finney just, having no striking whatsoever. But after 5 minutes, he was cooked. He was done. And I don't see him knocking out Ewert. I don't think that's happening. And I don't think he's going to submit Ewert early, but if he was to win, I think it might be a first-round submission. But yeah, maybe he's able to put Ewert in some bad spots in the first round. But if this fight gets out of the first round, there's no doubt in my mind that Panferov is probably screwed. I think the body work of Ewert is going to pay dividends here. I think the cardio, the toughness, and the dog that he has in him is going to be enough to get past Panferov and potentially stop him late. So I'm going to go Chris Ewert to win this fight and win this fight by second round knockout. But, we'll talk about this card from a betting perspective in the next couple days. Panferov sub 1, I kind of feel like that's his path. If he's not getting a first round finish, I kind of think he's screwed. So I'll go Ewert. I'll get Ewert by second round knockout. Up next, we have my favorite fight on the card. It is Ty Miller going against Jimmy Drago. We got Ty Miller. He's training out of Fit NHB. He's 25 years old, 6'2". He's 5-0 and 4-0 and 1 no contest in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for Ty Miller. He has a 40% finish rate, and all of those come by knockout. I believe 2 knockout wins for Ty Miller, which I'm kind of shocked it's not more than that, like after watching this guy fight. But yeah, only 2 knockouts thus far in his 5 wins. So some notes I have on Ty Miller. He's pretty big for the welterweight division, and he's going to have a decent size height advantage here. He's 6'2". He's very long, very rangy guy, and he uses that range and his reach to his advantage. And that's great. A lot of times we see guys that are very long, very rangy, and they don't use that reach. They don't use that length. They have that tall man's defense. Ty Miller does not. Ty Miller uses all of that reach, all of that length. The jab is incredible. His hands are fast, and he lands with power. I'm very impressed with the striking of Ty Miller. Very impressed. He will throw some head kicks here and there, and I like how he comes forward and throws with bad intentions. So not only is he using that reach, that length, he's walking forward, he's walking down his opponents, and he's landing in combinations. He's landing hard. The hands are fast, accurate, and powerful. So he can be taken down, but he's very strong, and he's hard to hold down and control, and he's primarily looking to strike, right? He's a striker. I like the strike in Miller a lot. The combinations are great. The length, the reach. I don't officially know his reach, but it's probably very long. And what I like about Miller the most is the volume. I love the volume of Ty Miller. I think a lot of the guys that he fights are going to try to take him down, and I think that Drago will probably try to take him down. But if he can keep fights standing, I think he's very solid in the striking. So yeah, very impressed with what I saw from Ty Miller. As far as Jimmy Drago, he is training out of Animals MMA. He's 30 years old, and he is 5'11". He is 7-2 in 3-1-1 no contest in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for Drago as well. Drago does have a 70% finish rate, 56% of which are by knockout, and 14% of his wins do come by submission. Some notes I have on Drago here. So there, yeah, and this is going to be the case with a lot of fights on Contender Series. Is there is in some fights, in some cases, a limited availability of footage of out there of these fights, and that was kind of the case with Drago. He was only able to watch a couple fights, but he hasn't really fought the best competition, and he does look kind of small in there. He says he's 5'11". He might be like 5'8". I don't know. He looked a lot smaller than 5'11". I was kind of surprised when I saw him listed at 5'11" there. His last fight was a no contest, but he was looking good in that fight. He was on his way to winning. He did drop his opponent in the first round. He has solid leg kicks, and I expect him to be using those leg kicks here. He throws very hard and very aggressively. His leg kicks are absolutely nasty. In the limited footage that I did see, he was hurting his opponent with the leg kicks. He throws them with very, very bad intentions, and I love the pace that Drago sets in his fights. In the fights that I've seen of Drago, they're insane. They're insanely paced fights and fun fights. That's why I think this fight is going to be the best fight on the card, in my opinion. So Drago can mix in takedowns, but he does primarily look to strike, and he might mix in takedowns here, but I'm not sure he's going to have much success. I would like to see him fight some better competition, and I just need to see more of Drago overall. He does look solid, though. He has a lot of power, heavy leg kicks, and he fights a fun and exciting style that is most definitely fan-friendly. So, yeah, I was really pleased with what I saw from both guys. I think both guys are very fun and exciting fighters, and I think this is going to be a very fun and exciting matchup. But I do expect this fight to take place on the feet, and I think the better striker here is Miller. I was blown away by his hands in there. He's going to be the much bigger guy, the much longer guy, and I think he's going to use that reach to his advantage. I'd be lying if I said the leg kicks of Drago don't worry me a little bit here. I think this has potential to be one of the best, if not the best fight on the card. I can't think of the main event should be awesome as well, but this fight's just going to be an absolute banger. I think this fight's going to be an absolute war. But I'm going to take Miller here to do the better work standing and win a decision. I could definitely see a finish either way, don't get me wrong, but I kind of just have a feeling this is going to be one of those just absolute wars, absolute barn burners. But yeah, I got to go Miller here. I think Drago can mix in the occasional takedown and land some big shots of his own and land some heavy leg kicks, but I think Miller's going to be landing cleaner and the better shots over the course of 15 minutes. So I'm going to go Miller here by decision. Could be knockout, but I'm kind of leaning a war here in this one. So Miller by decision is the pick. Miller's minus 160. Drago's plus 130, by the way. And by the way, Chris Ewert is minus 170, and Panferov is plus 140 there. All right, we'll move on to the next fight. It's going to be another really good fight here. They did really good week one in the matchmaking. We got George Mangos, and he's taking on Radley de Silva. We got George Mangos. We'll start with him. He's training out of Lions Den Academy. He's 21 years old, 5'10", with a 71-inch reach. He's 7-0, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for Mangos. He does have a 100% finish rate. 29% of his wins come by knockout, and 71% of his wins come by submission. So he's finished every single win. Very dangerous. Like I said, Mangos is a very dangerous fighter. He's finished all of his wins, and most of those wins do come by submission, primarily looking to get it down to the ground early and often. The wrestling's pretty decent wrestling. He's relentless with the wrestling, and that's what you got to like. Out of these grapplers, he's relentless. I've seen him, take his opponent down. They get back up. He's going right back down, right? So the chain wrestling is there. The willingness is there. And he's just going to do everything in his power to get the fight down to where he wants, which is on the mat. Once he's able to get you flat on your back, secure that position, he's going to keep you there. And he's going to look to get into dominant positions, get into mount, take your back. And he has very slick grappling. And he's able to get to the back pretty quickly. I was pretty impressed with this guy's ground game. He's always hunting for the finish. He's dangerous, whether it's a submission or a TKO. He's looking to get his opponent out of there. He's still young. He's only 21 years old, and he's going to be improving at a rapid rate, but he knows what he's good at, and that's the grappling. So the striking. So he seems to be working on the striking, and you love to see that out of a young guy especially, making improvements there. He's starting to be, more comfortable in the striking. He actually has a couple knockouts on his record as well. But, I definitely think at this stage of his career, he needs to get the fight down to the mat. And if he can't do that, I just don't see him winning fights at this level. He needs to use that bread and butter, and that bread and butter is that grappling. But yeah, Mangos, I think, has a bright future. 21 years old, George Mangos. As far as Radley de Silva, he's training out of Aegis Athletics. He's 30 years old, 5'10", 7-1, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for de Silva. He has a 57% finish rate, 14% of which come by knockout, and 43% of his wins do come by submission. Some notes I have on de Silva: he starts very quickly and throws with very bad intentions. He's most definitely the better striker in this matchup. He's very flashy, and that mixed with his aggressiveness is very fun to watch, and he's dangerous. So he's aggressive. He'll throw spinning back kicks. He'll throw spinning attacks. He's a fun striker on the feet, and he's aggressive with it. He doesn't mess around. So he looks very strong, and he can mix in takedowns, and a lot of his game is actually, on the mat, believe it or not. Once he does get on top, he's very heavy. His grappling looks pretty solid, and I just like the aggressiveness and the pace that he pushes. He doesn't let his opponent breathe in there. Like, as soon as the bell rings, it's like he's in his face. Whether he's coming forward, landing big shots, or just mixing in the takedowns, like, he's just nonstop the entire time. His top control and ground and pound is pretty nasty. He's smothering on top, and his takedown defense and grappling look good to me, and that's going to be important here in this fight. I've seen him get on top of a guy. I saw him land a nasty elbow that put a hole through a guy's face and then ended up submitting him shortly after. This guy, de Silva, is no joke whatsoever. So final thoughts on this matchup. I'm looking forward to this fight. I think both guys have a bright future ahead of them. Mangos, like I said, only 21 years old, and his grappling looks legit. But I'm not confident that he's going to be able to take down de Silva constantly and consistently here in this matchup. And I don't think there's a world where Mangos is going to go out there winning a fight that takes place on the feet. I think it would be wise for de Silva to keep this fight upright, but I have a funny feeling, a pretty strong feeling, that this fight is going to take place on the mat for a good portion of it. I can see de Silva actually mixing in takedowns here, and I think that's actually what's going to happen. Avoiding submission attempts from Mangos and just doing the much better work on the feet when it is on the feet. I like de Silva to win this fight by decision. I think he's the more well-rounded fighter at this stage of these two in their careers. And I think de Silva's good. I think he's well-rounded. I think he's good wherever the fight goes. I was very impressed with Radley de Silva. So I'll take de Silva to win this fight by decision. In terms of the odds, we got George Mangos minus 150 and Radley de Silva as a plus 120 underdog. So taking de Silva there and de Silva by decision. All right, before we get into the main event, if you guys have not already, be sure to smash the like button. Week 1, let's get those likes up. And, of course, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. Doing a lot of content for Dana White's Contender Series on the website. Fighter notes, fight write-ups, best bet article, betting breakdown vid, members-only fight companion, and then all of UFC content included, of course. If you want to support me, go the extra mile. Check out DFS by the numbers. Hop in the Discord. It's going to be a fun time these next 10 weeks. All right, main event. We have a fun fight. So let me pull up I like to write down the pronunciations. And this one took me a while. We got Ilian Bouafia going against Neemias Santana. So we'll start with Bouafia. Bouafia is, and that kind of sounds botched, but we'll go with it. He's training out of Boxing Squad. He's 28 years old. He's 6'5". He's 6-0 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for Bouafia. We got an 83% finish rate for the guy, and 83% of those come by knockout. No submissions on the record for Ilian. So, notes I have on Ilian Bouafia. He's absolutely massive at 6'5". It's not too often we see a 6'5" fighter in the middleweight division. He looks very patient in there. He is a little bit hittable, but he looks to have a pretty solid chin, and he can take a shot, which he's going to need to in this fight. He has been painfully low volume, like in some of his fights. Like, he needs more urgency in there. Some of the fights I was watching, I was like, dang, do something, dude. What are you doing? Just standing there, staring at your opponent. But there's other fights where he is higher volume, and he does look good. But some of his fights is like, do something, dude. And yeah, he does his best to work when he's coming forward, letting his hands go, and landing in combination. He's very strong in the clinch, and he looks very tough to take down. He can actually take down his opponents and get on top. And once he does get on top, He does a good job at, securing position, landing some ground and pound. And if he was to get taken down, he doesn't do a good job at getting back up, and he doesn't just accept bottom position. He's going to work his way to the cage and stand back up. The ground and pound looked good. He's able to get into dominant positions. I've seen some nasty ground and pound, and what I noted was he's aggressive once he gets on top. If he can get on top, get into a dominant position, mount, flatten you out, he's going to rain down ground and pound and finish you. I think he's clearly a very skilled fighter, wherever this fight goes. The striking is very technical. He's a very good striker. And then on top, I was impressed with what I saw. I just need to see a little bit more. In terms of the volume, the activity, just the aggressiveness, a little bit more. But yeah, he's dangerous wherever the fight goes. If he lands clean on you, he's going to put your lights out, and the ground game looks solid. As far as Neemias Santana, he's training out of Colossal MMA. He's 27 years old, 6'2" with a 75-inch reach, or 76-inch reach. Santana is 7-2-1, and 3-1-1 in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for Santana. He does have a 100% finish rate, 86% by knockout, and 14% by submission. So Santana is a pretty big dude himself, but he's going to be the smaller fighter in this matchup. And he's very long, like awkwardly long. Like his arms touch his toes type long. When I saw a 76-inch reach, I actually thought it was going to be, 80-inch reach. Like the dude's arms are just weirdly long. But yeah, he comes forward the entire time. I like that for this matchup specifically because it should force a fight. It should force these two to, it should force a very fun fight. He doesn't really have striking defense. He kind of just walks forward and tries to land and knock you out. And I don't think he has the best volume in his own right. Yes, he pressures, but he just doesn't seem to let his hands go all too much. But when he does he has a lot of power. And I'm talking crazy power in his hands. And when he smells blood, he's going to swarm you for the finish. He's going to let off on a 50-punch combination and get you out of there, landing big shots. And he's dangerous. He's a very dangerous fighter. He's definitely going to be at a technical disadvantage in this matchup, but he's going to come forward and he's going to try to finish the fight. So I'm not sure that he has the best cardio. When I've seen him go late in the fights, he doesn't look amazing, and I've actually seen him stuck on his back as well. So there are some concerns. There's a lot of concerns for Santana. The strike and defense, the cardio, potential ground game. I have some concerns about Santana, but I love the aggressiveness. I love that he's reckless. Is it smart to be this reckless? No, it's not, but it's fun to watch as a fan. But I think that recklessness is going to get him caught in the very near future, if not in this matchup. So this is a fun fight. It's an interesting main event. There's no doubt in my mind who the more skilled fighter is, and that is Bouafia. I think Bouafia's the more skilled fighter. I think he's the better striker, the better wrestler, the better grappler. I think he's the better cardio, probably more durable. But Santana's a wild man who brings a reckless style, and I think that style is probably going to get him caught and knocked out here. What I do like about Santana is that he's going to force Bouafia to fight, and I do think somebody's getting served and served early. I see what the matchmakers are doing here, and I like it. I love it. But I'm going to go take Bouafia to win this fight and take him to win this fight by first-round knockout, landing a big shot on Santana, who has no regard for his own safety. But I think somebody's getting served and getting served very, very violently. Hell of a main event here for week 1 of Dana White's Contender Series. So Bouafia, first-round KO. The odds on this fight, we have Bouafia minus 260 and Santana plus 175. Can't wait to see these props come out because there are some spots sticking out potentially from a prop perspective. But yeah, those are the picks for Dana White's Contender Series week number 1. If you guys enjoyed the content, leave me a like on the way out, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment. All 3 of those things go a long way. Check out dfsbythenumbers.com. So for the content on the website, the fighter notes will be dropping early tomorrow. The article will be dropping early tomorrow, and then betting breakdown video will be out like Tuesday morning. Typically, they'll get odds out either like late Monday or like early Tuesday sometimes. I'm talking like, the books that are like the FanDuels, the Draftkings, they'll get them out like Tuesday, but we'll see. Maybe I'll get the betting breakdown video out on Monday. And then for the live companion, it will be members only, but I'm thinking for week 1, I might just do it to the public. So be on the lookout for that on Tuesday as well. But yeah, guys, best of luck for Dana White's Contender Series week number 1. Looking forward to another great year of Contender Series. Last year was probably my best year, since I've started doing this, and looking to make this my best year of Dana White's Contender Series. So guys, best of luck, and we'll talk to you guys soon, and see you later.